Hello all, Lifestyle here, bringing you a knife review, though this is not going to be your standard review. This is a sort of CNC custom expensive review. This is the Nick Chuprin Robert Carter collab BBM V something. It's one of the versions of this thing. Yeah, this is an expensive knife. You're looking at titanium with this, just this is some of the most interesting anodizing I've ever seen on a knife. Not only do you have this beautiful pattern, but this sort of like frosted finish on the flats and this blue. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's zirconium, pocket clip, and pivot collars. Their logos are right here, NCC and Robert J. Carter. It's in Nitro V, which is what they do there, or Nick Chuprin particularly. I don't know about Robert Carter, but predominantly Nick Chuprin. I know he does almost all of his customs in Nitro V, so that's what you're going to get. It is a relatively small knife. Let us get into specs before we start talking more about this knife and see what we're looking at. We're looking at just over 3 inches of blade, not quite 3 1/8, about 7 1/8 overall, pretty small. The handle is just a hair over 4 inches long. So 3 inches to 4 inches, give or take. The ratios are not actually bad, but you're definitely looking at a smaller knife. In fact, I consider this a small knife. Compared to our resident small knife, the Civivi Elementum, yeah, the Civivi Elementum is... just looking at the Civivi Elementum almost looks longer, but this thing actually is a little bit longer based on the lines and where they fall. Just a tiny bit. The handle's very comparative. I think it's just the blade, or predominantly. It's definitely a small knife. It's a compact knife. I mean, see how thin and small the actual handle scales are. And as far as like clothes profile, it's decently tall. It's about as tall as the Conspirator, with this, harpoon kind of point here, making it a little bit taller than it would otherwise be. Thickness is also decently thick. It's definitely thicker than the Elementum. The titanium's got some layers and some steps to it, and it's got a presence in the hand, which really, with how thin it is, how narrow it is in height, it would probably be uncomfortable if it was too much thinner than this. Let's be honest, is what I'm trying to say, and doing poorly. Handle thickness, just shy of 1/2 inch. So yeah, it's a little thinner than the Conspirator, thicker than the Elementum, etc., etc. Blade stock thickness, 156 thousandths, 55 thousandths. It's actually quite thick. However, this is a hollow grind, a very deep hollow grind on this particular one, with behind the edge at, holy shit balls, I've never measured this thing behind the edge, 6 to 7 thousandths behind the edge. Yeah, geometry. This little sucker cuts. This cuts real well. Like, it doesn't matter. You could have 25-degree edge bevels on this thing. It's still going to cut. It does thicken out at the tip. You've got a bigger bevel area. It's very consistent. Very true to being a CNC-made knife. It definitely thickens out, but both tips are pretty accessible, and yeah, the geometry is crazy. This thing cuts really, really well. I will say that these things, when they're made, often they do have a variant where there's like a stepped blade, where you've got lines in the blade. My Ragnarok, which is... in fact, I'll just grab that. Hold on one second. And I'm back. My Ragnarok, which is a Nick Chuprin design. I don't think this is a collab with Robert Carter, but this is a Nick Chuprin design. As you can see, he does these step blades. They look really good. It's not going to be as thin, and I don't know if the step blade versions are, in fact, hollow ground, but, oh, hit the camera. As you can kind of see, they sort of complement each other. That's just kind of why I got them. I certainly like the hollow. It's definitely going to perform. It's got a hand satin on the blade. It's pretty darn gorgeous. Hardware is, let's see, I think this is, no, that's bigger than T8 all around. It's only got 2 screws, but it's T10 maybe? Let's see, T10, I don't know where my T9s are. Bigger than T10, really? That one's T10. Is that T15? Yeah, T15 pivot and a T10 body screw. So big, solid, strong hardware, and proof that you can put big hardware on a relatively small screw and still have it look relatively like non-invasive compared to the rest of the design. This whole notion that it has to be small or T6 to be just minimal or something like that is just not right. They can definitely put bigger screws on these knives, and it works. This is also a very, very nice pivot. Where was I? Let's get that out of there for now, as it's distracting me. Weight of the BBM, 3.31 ounces, almost an ounce an inch. It's not milled out on the inside at all, but it's just such a small knife, it doesn't really need to be. Oh, and I guess size comparison handle, you have almost 2 AA batteries on the dot in handle length for your comparison, so if your hand fits that, that's a good way to know. I think we're pretty much done with all of the specs. Is my calipers off? They are off, they're just being annoying. You can't see them, and that's probably a good thing. And there's the AA batteries. So, now that we're past the specs, let's just talk about this knife a little bit. Clean presentation, beautiful blade. In the open position, there's nothing on the blade. In the closed, you have the 2 maker's marks on either side of the blade up there. The blade is beautiful. The blade is gorgeous. The overall, as straightforward as this thing, it looks sleek. It looks cool, and it really is. It's really nice. You got this poon up here. Who doesn't love the poon with the swedge? You got a fuller plus the opening hole. I will say that it works great for the reverse flick. The thumb flick, it's all right. The way it sits in the hand because of how thin the handle is, I don't know. In my hand, it sits at a slightly weird angle for the thumb flick, but it works. I will also mention that, I don't know if, I got this off of Arizona Custom Knives. I don't think it was completely, like, I'm not the first owner, but it's in immaculate condition. I've looked over the whole thing. It's perfect. It might have been, maybe I was the first owner, I don't even know. I know that they have had some of his knives, but the action on this is so different. I haven't taken it apart because it's so perfectly dialed in that I don't really want to. It feels like hydraulic action. It's got to be on washers, this particular one. I think they also come on bearings. I mean, the Ragnarok certainly comes on bearings. Strong detent. Both of them have strong detent. A very, very solid detent. But this is so hydraulic and so, like, deliberate. And so perfectly smooth and consistent. It feels amazing. It really does. It feels amazing. I think it's washers, but I mean, maybe it's just really tight bearings. I don't know. Whatever it is, it feels great. I don't know if all of them feel this way. I'm pretty sure some of them are on bearings, though. So there may be some variants. Maybe your model will differ. Maybe this was an early one. Don't know. It's one that I saw and just fell in love with when I saw it, because it's just the overlook and the milling and the anodizing. It's just a good-looking, sleek, attractive, nasty little knife. And it performs wonderfully despite having thick blade stock. I will say that you can reverse flick off of anything, though the fuller is a little bit more rounded. It's kind of easier to use the opening hole. And I kind of slip out of the fuller. For thumb flick, I just use the hole going up here, the aperture. Snappy, wonderful, frame lock. There is no lock bar insert in this knife, but when it's done right, that really shouldn't be too bad. That's definitely something that can be fine and you can live with. Especially when it's done with the precision of a CNC and high-end custom execution. Some custom makers don't do lock bar inserts. It's perfectly reasonable, but it is what it is. It's fine. The plunge grind drops down almost straight down. The edge does come really close to it. You do have a little bit of room, but the stop pin hits way up here underneath the tang, so you can definitely cut inch oil if you ever want to just give yourself a little bit easier time sharpening, or I don't know if it's even going to make a smile because the way the plunge grind drops, but if it does, you can always cut in a little bit more. It won't be you don't want to make it huge, and it won't be too distracting, but it'll be there. But you definitely got the life in this blade because it is a deep, fast dropping hollow. Like, it doesn't really feel like it starts getting thicker until about here. Like, it's a thin hollow. And it cuts, like I said, it is a performing knife. Ergos are actually amazing. You get right up behind the edge with this forward grip position. I mean, I guess you can go back here. It's not as comfortable and it doesn't feel as normal there. I can just barely get my 4 fingers on there. That's not where I grip this knife. This is where I grip this knife, and my word, yes. As thin as it is super ergonomic. You feel the clip, but it's so well done, and it just feels, and it's, I mean, let's be honest, the handle's not a whole lot taller than the clip, so it just sort of feels like part of it. It's really good. Now, coming to the clip, that's kind of where I'd have a bit of a problem. And that is, I don't like zirconium as clips. I don't mind them if you're going to put them on. I mean, honestly, unless it's polished zirconium, I don't really care about zirconium at all. That's just me. Maybe it's just me. Some people like it. It's got a nice sheen to it a little bit when it's not even when it's not polished, but it's just sort of a black matte thing, right? Backspacer and pocket, not pocket, what the heck am I saying? Pivot collar is fine. I don't like it for clips. Zirconium is soft. It also does not have nearly the memory and retention that something like titanium has, or the flex. So this is a stiff, tight clip. And as you can see, it's also not really touching the scale. It's not tapping normally because it's just like that, but it manages to not be a tapper, but it's not touching the scale unless you're gripping it into the knife. So I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of zirconium pocket clips. However, that didn't exactly stop me here. This is, in my opinion, overall just better. Titanium. Or, yeah, titanium is pretty much just universally better. I mean, it's got the memory, it's got all of the stuff that you want. But is it cool? Is it nice? Is it good looking? Yeah, so, and it's not stopping me from, like, I'm not going to say, oh, this clip is great in hand, but because it's not the most functional clip in the world, I'm going to not buy a custom knife for it, right? Right? It might be a deal breaker on a $50 budget knife, but as long as it's comfortable and does work. I mean, it's not great. It doesn't have tons of flex to it, but it does work, so it's fine. It's not going to be a deal breaker on a super expensive knife. It just isn't. And it's super comfortable, so who cares? Ergos are wonderful, honestly, even though they kind of don't look like they would be. They really are. You're right in the poon. great stuff here. And I mean, this is just, it is a surprisingly simple frame lock, but it's just nice. It's just slick and well executed, and the action and everything is just great. It's expensive. These things are typically, I think the BBMs, when they're around, when they're available, are typically in the like $1,000 to $1,100 range without the zirconium. This was slightly more expensive. I think I got this for $1,200, but it's centered. There's no play. It's extremely well made. It's a fantastic, unique little knife that really does kind of stand out in the crowd, in my opinion, especially with this finish. But oh, and the lock bar is, even though it's not cut back very much, it is super accessible because you've got this big chamfer on it, and the thicker blade stock allows you to get in there, and yeah, basically from the side, it's really good. And it's also back down here, right? And the actual blade stock is up there, which is just a fun little thing, right? Your tang's not ending up in here and out of the way. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but it is what it is. And that's what this is. This is just, it's a CNC custom. It's a small batch, really well-made knife. Is it for everybody? Not in the slightest. It's expensive. Very, very expensive. High-end, in fact. But, yeah, I really like it. And I think this one is quite beautiful, and it sort of complements my pair. The Diana's a little bit darker on this one, but they got the same vibe going on. And I like both of these knives. There is now an automatic version of this one, the Ragnarok. Not of this one, but it's an interesting, nice little knife catalog that these guys have got going for themselves. There's a tiny little automatic as well, I think that they did a small run of, I think. And they're USA made customs, so yeah. The BBM and the Ragnarok even are just nice enthusiast level knives. But you definitely have to be an enthusiast because you don't want to drop that much money on if you're not really into it, right? Heck, you don't want to drop that much money if you are into it, but sometimes the stupid brain cells win out, right? And that's it. BBM, I think the V2, I think this one is. I love it. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing it. Like and subscribe, comment down below if you want. Support the channel. Check out some more videos, etc., etc. That's everything for me today. So again, thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.